Import React from React. Import. Download on from Lucid React. Const story part. Const story content. The child slept calmly, while the badger tore through everything in its path part. The observation lounge of Station Meridian 7 had windows that stretched from floor to ceiling. Outside, stars moved slowly in the endless black. Inside, Ambassador Daehyun sat in a chair that was too small for humans. The aliens who built this station did not think humans would ever come here. That was 6 months ago. Now humans were part of the galactic community. Now they had to attend boring trade meetings and smile at aliens who looked at them like they were strange pets. Daehyun listened to the Vrex representative talk about grain exports. The Vrex looked like a giant insect with too many arms. His voice buzzed when he spoke. Daehyun nodded at the right moments and took notes on his tablet. This was his job now. Smile, nod, make humanity seem harmless and friendly. His daughter Yuna sat beside him on the thick carpet. She was 5 years old. She had brought her coloring books and her stuffed rabbit. The other ambassadors stared at her when they first arrived. They did not understand why Daehyun brought a child to a diplomatic meeting. He tried to explain that human children need their parents, that leaving her alone felt wrong. The aliens did not understand. Their species laid eggs or raised children in groups. The idea of a parent wanting their child nearby seemed weak to them, inefficient, emotional. Daehyun learned to stop explaining. Let them think what they wanted. Yuna yawned. She put down her blue crayon and rubbed her eyes. Papa, I'm sleepy, she whispered. Go ahead and rest, sweetheart, Daehyun said softly. He helped her lie down on the carpet with her rabbit as a pillow. She curled up small and closed her eyes. Within minutes, her breathing became slow and steady. The Vrex ambassador stopped talking and looked at Yuna. The human child is non-functional? She's sleeping, Daehyun said. It's natural for her age. Your species requires unconsciousness daily? A Thanari ambassador asked. The Thanari looked like a blue stone with crystals growing from it. This seems inefficient. We manage, Daehyun said with a smile that did not reach his eyes. The meeting continued. Daehyun half listened to discussions about shipping routes and tariff agreements. His mind wandered. This was so different from his old life. Before he became an ambassador, he had a different job. A job he did not talk about at these meetings. A job that involved different skills than smiling and nodding. The station's lights flickered. Just once, but Daehyun noticed. His body tensed automatically, old instincts coming back. Then the lights came back to normal and he relaxed. Probably just a power fluctuation. These stations had problems sometimes. Security Chief Thalix stood near the door. He was a Corvian with forearms and gray skin like stone. He wore the station's security uniform and carried a plasma rifle. His face did not show emotion, but his third eye was half closed. Bored. Nothing ever happened at trade meetings. The lights flickered again. This time they went red. An alarm started to sound. It was loud and made Yuna stir in her sleep, but she did not wake up. Thalix touched his communication device. Security Station 7 report. He waited. Station 7, respond. Nothing. His third eye opened fully. All units, security alert. The door exploded inward. Smoke filled the room. Daehyun moved without thinking. He grabbed Yuna and dove behind a table as pieces of the door flew past where they had been sitting. The other ambassadors screamed and scattered. Furniture crashed. Someone was firing weapons. Through the smoke came figures. Big figures. They wore armor that was black and covered with spikes. Their faces were hidden behind helmets with red visors. Daehyun counted 6 of them. They moved fast for their size. They carried weapons that looked like rifles but bigger. Krell pirates. Daehyun recognized them from intelligence briefings. The most dangerous raiders in known space. No one had ever successfully fought them off. They took what they wanted and killed anyone who resisted. Thalix raised his rifle. Drop your... One of the Krell shot him. Not with a bullet. With some kind of energy weapon. Thalix flew backward and hit the wall. He did not get up. The lead Krell stepped forward. He was bigger than the others. His armor had marks on it. The marks meant he was in charge. When he spoke, his voice came through his helmet speakers, deep and rough. All station residents will surrender immediately. Resistance means death. Cooperation means life. Choose. The ambassadors all raised their hands. Even the ones who did not have hands raised whatever body parts they had. No one wanted to die. Dae-hyun stayed behind the table. Yuna was still asleep somehow. The explosions and alarms had not woken her. She was a heavy sleeper like her mother had been. He held her close and kept his body between her and the Krell. You. Behind the table. Stand up. The lead Krell pointed at Dae-hyun. Dae-hyun stood slowly. He kept Yuna in his arms. She made a small sound but did not wake. Her head rested on his shoulder. To anyone watching, he looked like a scared parent holding his child. His face showed fear. His hands shook slightly, but his eyes were calm. Calculating. Counting the Krell. Noting their weapons. Watching how they moved. Finding their weak points without seeming to look. You are human, the Krell leader said. We have heard of your species, weak, soft, emotional. He laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. Put the child down. She's sleeping, Dae-hyun said quietly. Please. She's just a child. Put her down. Dae-hyun gently set Yuna on the floor behind the overturned table. She curled up immediately, still asleep. Still trusting that she was safe. Still believing her papa would protect her. The Krell waved his weapon. All of you, move. Gathering point is the main hall. Move now. The ambassadors started walking toward the door. The Krell pushed them roughly. Dae-hyun moved with the group but kept looking back at Yuna. She was small behind that table. So small. Keep moving, human, a Krell said, shoving Dae-hyun forward. They marched through the corridors. More Krell were everywhere. They had taken over the whole station. Dead security guards lay in the halls. The Krell had killed anyone who tried to stop them. This was what they always did. Take the station fast. Kill the fighters. Take the rest prisoner. They reached the main hall. Hundreds of station residents were already there. All the different alien species all pressed together, all terrified. The Krell forced Dae-hyun into the crowd. A new Krell walked to the front. He was even bigger than the leader from before. His armor was decorated with bones. I am Captain Vorn, he announced. This station is now Krell property. You are now Krell prisoners. Your governments will pay for your return. Until then, you belong to us. The crowd made sounds of fear and despair. Some aliens were crying. Others prayed to their gods. Dae-hyun stood very still. His face was blank. Inside, his mind was racing. Yuna was still in the observation lounge. The Krell had not seen her behind that table. She was alone. Excuse me, Dae-hyun said quietly to a Thanari next to him. How far is the observation lounge from here? 3 sections away, the alien whispered back. But it is sealed now. Emergency protocols sealed. That meant the doors were locked. That meant Yuna was trapped in there, safe from the Krell for now, but alone. When she woke up, she would be scared. She would cry for him. No, he could not let that happen. He would not let that happen. An alien ambassador near Dae-hyun spoke up. It was the Vrex from the meeting. Human Dae-hyun. Your child was in the observation lounge. I am sorry. The Krell will find her eventually. There is nothing we can do. You must accept this. Accept it? Dae-hyun asked softly. The Krell cannot be fought. Every species knows this. They are too strong, too many. Resistance is death. We must wait for ransom negotiations. Other ambassadors nodded sadly. They looked at Dae-hyun with pity. Losing a child was terrible, they agreed. But what could anyone do? The Krell were unstoppable. This was just how the galaxy worked. Some species were predators. Others were prey. Humans were new. They would learn. Dae-hyun looked at their pitying faces. He looked at the Krell guards standing around the hall with their weapons. He looked at the sealed doors, 3 sections away. Between him and Yuna, something changed in his expression. Just for a moment, something cold passed through his eyes. Something that had nothing to do with diplomacy or trade agreements. Something from his old life. The life before he became an ambassador. The life where he had been very good at solving problems that seemed impossible. Where does the station keep its maintenance tools? Dae-hyun asked quietly. The Thenari looked confused. Why would you need... Where? Dae-hyun's voice was still soft. Still polite, but something in his tone made the alien answer. Storage Bay 12. But human, what are you planning? You cannot fight the Krell. No one can. Dae-hyun did not answer. He was already looking at the air vents near the ceiling. Already planning a route. Already becoming something other than Ambassador Dae-hyun. friendly representative of humanity, already becoming what he used to be. The child slept calmly in the sealed observation lounge, 3 sections away. She did not know her father was coming for her. She did not know what he would do to get there. She did not know that the Krell had just made the worst mistake any species could make. They had gotten between a human parent and their child. Import React from React. Import, download Taller from Lucid React. Const Story Part 2. Const Story Content. The child slept calmly. While the badger tore through everything in its path part, 2 Captain Vorn walked through the station corridors with confidence. His boots made heavy sounds on the metal floor. Behind him, 3 of his best warriors followed. They had just finished securing the command center. Everything was going perfectly. Status report, Vorn said into his communicator. All sections secure, Captain, the voice replied. Prisoners contained in main hall. No resistance. Station security surrendered immediately, Vorn laughed. Of course they did. They always do. He looked at his warriors. This might be our easiest raid yet. These council species are all cowards. They talk about peace and cooperation. They have no warrior spirit. One of his warriors made a sound of agreement. The humans are here too, Captain. We saw one in the prisoner group. Humans? Vorn searched his memory. The new species? The emotional ones who bring their children to diplomatic meetings? Yes, Captain, very weak, very soft. Then they will learn quickly how the galaxy truly works. Strength is all that matters, we have it. They do not. Vorn checked his weapon. Continue securing the station. I want every valuable item cataloged within the hour. Behind them, in the wall, something moved through the ventilation system. It made almost no sound. The Krell did not notice. In the maintenance tunnels between the station's outer and inner walls, Daehyun pulled himself forward on his elbows. The space was tight. His shoulders barely fit. The metal was cold against his chest. He ignored the discomfort. He had been in worse places. Much worse. Getting out of the main hall had been simple. The Krell were confident. They did not watch the prisoners carefully. Why would they? No one ever tried to escape. Daehyun waited until the guards were looking away. Then he moved to the edge of the crowd. Then he slipped into a side corridor. Then he found an access panel. Then he was inside the walls, like he had done 100 times before, in other places, on other missions. In his old life, he reached a junction where 3 tunnels met. He stopped and pulled out the tablet he had taken from a maintenance closet. The station map showed on the screen. He traced the path to the observation lounge. Still 2 sections away. He needed to move faster, but he also needed weapons. The plasma cutter he had found in the maintenance bay was good. It could cut through metal. It could cut through other things too. But he needed more. The Krell wore armor. They had energy shields. He needed to be smart about this. Daehyun heard voices below him. He looked through a vent grate. 2 Krell warriors were walking through the corridor beneath him. They were talking and laughing. They thought they were safe. They thought the hard part was over. They were wrong. Daehyun watched them pass. He noted their weapons. Standard plasma rifles. Energy shields on their belts. Armor covering most of their bodies. But not all. The joints were exposed. Neck, behind the knees, under the arms. All protected by flexible material instead of hard plates. Because they needed to move. Because armor always had weak points. He had learned that a long time ago. In a different uniform, in a different war, the Krell turned a corner. Daehyun moved ahead of them through the tunnel. He came to another vent. He looked through. This corridor had equipment lockers along the walls. Good. He positioned himself above the path the Krell would take. He waited. Breathing slow, heart rate calm, like his instructors had taught him. Like he had done on operations that were classified and would stay classified forever. The Krell walked into the corridor. They were still laughing about something. Still confident, Daehyun kicked open the vent and dropped down behind them. He had the plasma cutter in his hand. It was already on. The beam was white hot. He swung it fast and low. The beam cut through the back of the first Krell's knee. The armor joint split open. The Krell screamed and fell. The second Krell turned, bringing his rifle up. But Daehyun was already moving. He ducked under the rifle barrel and drove the plasma cutter into the gap where the Krell's helmet met his chest armor. The Krell made a choking sound and stumbled backward. The first Krell was on the ground, reaching for his weapon. Dae-Hyun stamped on his wrist. Bones broke. The Krell screamed again. Dae-Hyun picked up the plasma rifle and looked at it for 2 seconds. Learning the controls. Understanding the weapon. Then he fired once into each Krell's head. They stopped moving. The whole thing took 8 seconds. Maybe 9. Dae-Hyun dragged the bodies into a storage room. He took their weapons. Their shield generators. Their ammunition packs. He checked the corridor. Empty. No one had heard. He looked at the plasma rifle in his hands. It felt wrong. The balance was off for human hands. Too heavy in the front. But it would work. Everything was a tool. Every tool could be used. In the security center, an alien named Calax was watching the monitor screens. He was a Vrex with compound eyes that could watch 12 screens at once. His job was to coordinate the prisoner transport. Boring work, but the Krell paid well for technical support staff. One of his screens flickered. He looked closer. It showed Corridor 9B. There was nothing there now. But the motion sensors had triggered. Something had moved through. Then nothing. Calax rewound the recording. He watched 2 Krell warriors walk into the corridor. Then the video glitched. Just for a second. When it cleared, the corridor was empty. That was wrong. The warriors should have walked through and kept going. They should have appeared on the next camera. But they did not. Calax checked the next camera. Nothing. He checked all the cameras in that section. The 2 warriors had vanished. Captain Vorn, Calax spoke into his communicator. We have a situation. 2 warriors are missing from Patrol Route 5. There was silence. Then Vorn's voice, annoyed. Define missing. They entered Corridor 9B. They did not exit. They are not responding to communication. More silence. Then Vorn's voice was different, sharper. Send a team to investigate now. A 4 Krell team moved to Corridor 9B. They found the storage room. They found the bodies. They saw how the warriors had been killed. Fast, efficient, no mercy. The team leader spoke into his communicator. His voice was unsteady. Captain, they were killed by cutting weapons and plasma fire. Professional execution. Whoever did this knew what they were doing. Who? Vorn demanded. The station security surrendered. Who could have done this? Unknown. But Captain, the team leader looked at the bodies again. Whoever it was took their weapons and equipment. They are armed now, and they are inside the walls. Vorn felt something he had not felt in years. Uncertainty. Find them. All teams, full alert. Hunt pattern Delta. Find whoever did this and kill them. 30 Krell warriors began searching the station. They checked corridors. Storage rooms. Engineering sections. They found nothing, but they kept disappearing. A 2 Krell patrol vanished from Deck 7. Another team found them in a maintenance shaft. Dead. Killed the same way. Weapons missing. 3 more warriors disappeared from the engineering bay. Security footage showed nothing. Just a moment of static. Then they were gone. The Krell started to get nervous. They bunched together in larger groups. They fired at shadows. They jumped at sounds. Vorn watched the security feeds in disbelief. This was impossible. No species did this. Every species in the galaxy followed rules. They surrendered or they fought head-on. They did not hunt. They did not stalk. They did not kill like ghosts. Show me the station roster, Vorn ordered. Who is on this station that could do this? Calax pulled up the list. Various council species. All diplomatic staff. All civilians. All non-combatants. Someone is lying, Vorn said. Someone is a warrior pretending to be something else. He scanned the list. His eyes stopped on one name. This human, Dae-Hyun, what is his background? Calax searched the database. He is an ambassador. Before that, Calax's eyes went wide. Captain, before he was an ambassador, his file says he was a teacher. A teacher? Teachers do not kill trained warriors. That is what the file says. But Captain, there is a note here. It says his previous employment records are classified. It says to contact Human Military Command for more information. Vorn felt his blood go cold. Military. He is a human soldier. Was a soldier, Captain. The file says he retired 5 years ago to raise his daughter. Vorn remembered something one of his warriors had said, about a human bringing a child to meetings, about how weak and emotional that seemed. His daughter. Where is she? Calex checked. There is a small human child registered as Yuna. Last known location was the observation lounge in Section 3, the section that is currently sealed by emergency protocols. Vorn understood immediately. A warrior, trained and experienced. His child trapped and alone, separated by armed enemies. How many have we lost? Vorn asked quietly. 12 warriors confirmed dead, Captain. 8 missing. Assumed dead, 20 warriors. One human had killed 20 of the most dangerous fighters in the galaxy. And he was still hunting, still moving towards something, towards someone. Pull all teams back to the observation lounge, Vorn ordered. If he wants his daughter, he will come there. We will be waiting. In the walls, Daehyun heard the Krell communicators chattering. They were changing position, falling back to a defensive position. They had figured out where he was going. Import React from React. Import and download from Lucida React. Concept Story Part 3. Const Story Content. The child slept calmly. While the badger tore through everything in its path. Part 3 in the main hall, the prisoners huddled together in fear. The Krell guards were more nervous than before. They held their weapons tight and watched the shadows. Something had them scared. The prisoners could see it. Ambassador Hyunwoo stood near the edge of the crowd. He was the other human representative on the station, older than Daehyun by 10 years. Quieter. He wore simple clothes and had a gentle face, the kind of face that made people trust him. The Vrex ambassador approached him. Human Hyunwoo, your colleague Daehyun has escaped. He is killing Krell warriors throughout the station. This is madness. He will only make things worse for all of us. Hyunwoo looked at the Vrex calmly. Has he made things worse? He is provoking them. They will execute prisoners in response. This is what happens when someone resists. Everyone knows this. Everyone? Hyunwoo smiled slightly. It was not a happy smile. Humans did not know this. No one told us. A Thanari floated closer. Its crystal surface glowed with agitation. Your species is new here. You do not understand galactic customs. When a superior force takes control, you surrender. This preserves life. This is civilization. Civilization. Hyunwoo repeated the word slowly. Tell me, how many stations have the Krell raided? Hundreds, the Thanari said. Perhaps thousands. And how many times has anyone fought back? Never, because it is pointless. The Krell are too strong. Fighting them is suicide. Hyunwoo nodded. I see. So for hundreds, maybe thousands of raids, every species has surrendered. Every species has accepted this. You gave them your stations, your goods, your people. You paid ransoms. You accepted that this is just how things work. Yes, the Vrex said, because we are logical. We value survival over pride. And yet the Krell keep coming back. They keep raiding, because you have taught them that you will always surrender. You have taught them that there is no cost to attacking you. Hyunwoo's voice stayed gentle, but his words cut like knives. You call this civilization. Humans call it something else. What do we call it? The Thanari sounded offended. Farming. You are livestock. The Krell are farmers. They harvest you whenever they want because you never fight back. The aliens made sounds of anger, but Hyunwoo continued. Daehyun is showing them something different. He is teaching them that humans are not livestock. He is teaching them that humans are violent and barbaric. The Vrex protested. No, Hyunwoo said softly. He is teaching them that humans have a line you do not cross. And they crossed it. What line? What is so important that he would risk all our lives? Hyunwoo looked at the Vrex with something close to pity. His daughter. They got between a human father and his child. The aliens looked confused. The Thanari spoke slowly. But many species value their offspring. This is not unique to humans. Why is his reaction so extreme? Hyunwoo thought about how to explain. These species did not understand. They had never lived on Earth. They had never learned its lessons. Let me tell you about a creature from Earth, Hyunwoo said. It is called a badger. Very small. Maybe this big? He held his hands apart. Weighs maybe 15 kilograms. It eats insects and roots. Normally very calm. You could walk past one and it would ignore you. The aliens listened, confused about where this was going. But if you threaten a badger's young, something changes. The badger does not run. It does not surrender. It attacks. And it does not stop. It will fight creatures 10 times its size. 20 times. It does not care about odds. It does not care about getting hurt. It only cares about protecting its babies. Hyunwoo looked at each alien in turn. There are documented cases of badgers fighting lions, fighting bears. The badger knows it might die. It does not care. Because protecting its young is more important than living. This is what evolution on Earth taught every parent species. Protect the child, no matter what, but humans are not badgers, the Vrek said. Humans are intelligent, logical. Humans are both, Hyunwoo replied. We have intelligence. We have technology. We have logic. But underneath, we still have those same instincts. Millions of years of evolution telling us, protect the child. At any cost. By any means. Never stop. Never surrender. Never accept their death. The Thanari's glow dimmed. This seems inefficient. A parent who dies protecting their child cannot raise that child, and true, but a species where parents do not protect their children does not survive long on a planet like Earth. Every predator wants to eat the young. They are easy targets, so parents must be willing to die to stop that. Parents must be more dangerous than any predator. Earth made us this way. Earth taught us that love means violence when necessary. An alarm blared through the station. The Krell guards shouted into their communicators. Something was happening. The prisoners pressed closer together. Hyunwoo listened to the Krell chatter. He understood their language. He had learned it months ago, quietly, without telling anyone. Just in case it was useful someday. What he heard made him close his eyes briefly. Then he spoke to the aliens around him. Daehyun just destroyed the gravity generator in Section 2. The Krell team there is floating helplessly. He used the station's own systems as a weapon. How could he do that? The Thanari asked. Only station engineers have those access codes. Daehyun was Special Forces, Hyunwoo said simply. Before he became an ambassador, he knows how to hack systems. He knows how to turn anything into a weapon. He knows how to win when winning should be impossible. You knew this? You knew he was a soldier? All humans know. It is in his file. We did not hide it. You just did not think it mattered. You thought humans were weak because we bring our children to meetings, because we talk about feelings, because we seem soft. Hyunwoo's smile was sad. You did not realize that we are most dangerous when we have something to protect. The Krell Captain Vorn appeared at the entrance to the hall. His armor was scorched. He looked furious. He pointed at Hyunwoo. You human, come here. Hyunwoo walked forward calmly. The Krell guards grabbed his arms. Vorn looked down at him. Call off your warrior. Tell him to surrender or we start executing prisoners. He is not a warrior anymore, Hyunwoo said. He is a father, and I cannot call him off. No one can. Everyone can be reasoned with. Everyone has a price. Everyone will negotiate. Not a human protecting their child. Vorn grabbed Hyunwoo by the throat. Then what do you suggest I do, human? Hyunwoo met his eyes without flinching. His voice came out strained but steady. Let the girl go. Bring her here. Give her to the prisoners. Then maybe he will stop, maybe? Vorn threw Hyunwoo to the ground. Maybe is not acceptable. I want certainty. Then you do not understand what you are fighting. Hyunwoo stood up slowly. You are not fighting a warrior following orders. You are not fighting for territory or resources. You are fighting a parent trying to reach their child. There is no deal you can offer. No threat you can make. No force you can use. He will keep coming. He will use every weapon available. He will accept any injury. He will do whatever it takes. This is what humans are when you threaten our children. Vorn stared at him. I have fought hundreds of species. All of them could be beaten. All of them could be broken. Humans are no different. Then why are your warriors afraid? Hyunwoo asked quietly. I can see it in their faces. They are scared. Because they have never fought anyone who will not stop. Who does not care about dying. Who only cares about one thing. Vorn did not answer. Because it was true. His warriors were afraid. They were trained killers. They had raided countless stations. But they had never faced anything like this. In Section 3, Daehyun crawled through the maintenance shaft. He was close now. The observation lounge was 200 meters away. Between him and the lounge were 30 Krell warriors. He could see them on the tablet screen. They had set up a defensive position. They were waiting for him. They thought position and numbers would matter. They were wrong. Daehyun reached an access panel. Beyond it was a power junction. The main conduit for Section 3. He pulled out the plasma cutter and began to work. He cut carefully. Precisely. Like he had been trained. The Krell were watching the corridors. They were watching the vents. They were not watching the power systems. Mistake. Daehyun finished cutting. He attached 2 grenades to the junction. He set the timers. Then he crawled backward through the shaft as fast as he could. The grenades exploded. The power junction overloaded. Section 3 went dark. Emergency lights came on, but they were dim. Red. The Krell warriors shouted in confusion. Then Daehyun cut through the floor above them and dropped into the chaos. He landed in the middle of their formation. They could barely see him in the emergency lighting. He moved fast. Plasma fire lit up the corridor. Energy beams cut through the dark. Krell warriors fired at shadows, at sounds, at each other. Daehyun moved through them like water, like smoke. He was never where they expected. Every time they aimed, he was somewhere else. Every time they fired, they hit their own. He used their confusion. Their numbers worked against them. They crowded each other, got in each other's way, blocked each other's shots. Daehyun had trained for this, fighting multiple opponents in close quarters, fighting in the dark. Import React from React. Import. Downloaded from Lucid React. Const Story Part 4. Const Story content. The child slept calmly, while the badger tore through everything in its path. Part 4. Daehyun came through the door like a storm. His face was covered in blood and dirt. His stolen armor was broken in places. He held a plasma rifle in one hand and a Krell blade in the other. His eyes found Yuna first. Always Yuna first. She had her eyes closed like he told her. Good girl. Then his eyes found Vorn, found the blade at his daughter's throat, found the 6 warriors standing ready. Something happened to Daehyun's expression. It went blank. Empty. Like all the humanity had drained out and left something else behind. Something that did not negotiate. Did not compromise. Did not feel fear or mercy or doubt. Last chance, Daehyun said. His voice was flat. Put her down, leave, live. Vorn pressed the blade closer to Yuna's throat. Not enough to cut. Just enough to threaten. Drop your weapons. Get on your knees. Or she dies. Daehyun looked at Vorn, really looked at him, measured him, understood him. Vorn was used to winning, used to being the biggest threat, used to others backing down. His whole life was built on that, on being the predator, on others being prey. He did not understand, could not understand, what it meant to face someone who had already decided that dying was acceptable, that pain was acceptable, that anything was acceptable if it meant protecting the child. You have never fought humans before, Daehyun said, so you do not know. We are not like other species. We do not have honor codes. We do not have rules about fair fighting. Earth taught us different lessons. Want to know what they were? Vorn did not answer. Did not need to. Daehyun told him anyway. Win. Whatever it takes. Win. Daehyun threw the rifle at Vorn's head. Vorn blocked it reflexively. His blade moved away from Yuna's throat. Just for a second. Just an inch, that was enough. Daehyun crossed the distance in 3 steps. Faster than Vorn expected. Faster than should be possible for an injured human. Daehyun grabbed Yuna with one arm and pulled her away from Vorn. With the other hand, he drove the Krell blade up under Vorn's helmet, into the gap where armor met flesh. Vorn made a choking sound. His hands went to his throat. Daehyun had already moved. Already turned. Yuna was tucked against his chest, his body between her and the other Krell. The 6 warriors opened fire. Energy beams filled the room. Daehyun ran toward them. Not away, toward. They were not expecting that. No one ran toward gunfire. No one charged 6 armed warriors while holding a child, except someone who had decided that dying was better than failing, better than letting them hurt Yuna, better than anything else in the universe. Daehyun took a hit to the shoulder. The energy burned through his armor. He felt his skin burn. He kept running. Took another hit to the leg. Felt bone crack. Kept running. Took a glancing shot to the head. Felt blood pour down his face. Kept running. He reached the first warrior. Drove his head into the alien's chest. Felt armor crack. The warrior fell backward. Daehyun was already moving to the next one. Everything was instinct now. Everything was training and muscle memory and the simple equation, kill threat, protect child. He fought with one arm. The other held Yuna tight. She had her face pressed against his chest, eyes closed. She could hear the fighting, feel her father moving, but she was not afraid. Papa had her. Papa would protect her. The Krell warriors were confused. They had never fought like this. Every species they knew fought at range, used cover, used tactics. This human was just destroying them with raw aggression and willingness to take damage. One warrior managed to grab Daehyun's injured arm, twisted it. Daehyun felt something tear in his shoulder. He did not scream, did not react, just grabbed the warrior's helmet with his teeth, bit down on the edge and yanked. The helmet came loose. Then Daehyun headbutted the warrior's exposed face once, twice, 3 times, until the warrior stopped moving. Another warrior came at him from behind. Daehyun sensed it somehow, ducked. The warrior's blade passed over Yuna's head by inches. Daehyun spun and kicked. His boot caught the warrior in the knee. Joint bent backward. The warrior fell. Daehyun stamped on his throat. 4 warriors left. They backed away. They were afraid now. Openly afraid. This was not a fight. This was a massacre. And they were losing. Kill it, one warrior screamed. Just kill it. They fired everything. All at once. The observation lounge filled with energy beams. The windows cracked from the heat. Metal melted. When the firing stopped, Daehyun was behind an overturned table. Yuna was under him, protected by his body. The table was melted. Holes burned through it. Some of those holes went through Daehyun too. He was hit in at least 5 places now, maybe more. Hard to count. Hard to think through the pain, but he was still moving. Still breathing. Still protecting. He looked down at Yuna. Are you hurt, sweetheart? She opened her eyes. Looked up at him. She saw the blood. Saw the burns. Saw her papa hurting. Papa, you're bleeding, I know. But are you okay? I'm okay. You protected me. Always, he said. Then he kissed her forehead and set her down behind the table. Stay here, stay low. I will be right back. Promise? Promise. He stood up. Walked out from behind the table. Toward the 4 remaining warriors. They fired. He took hits. Kept walking. They fired again, more hits. Kept walking. They realized he was not going to stop. Was never going to stop. Would walk through any amount of fire to get to them, because they had threatened his child. And that was the one thing he would not forgive. Would not forget. Would not let go. One warrior ran, just turned and fled. Daehyun let him go. Was not a threat anymore. The other 3 stood their ground. Brave, foolish, dead. Daehyun reached them. What happened next was fast and brutal and efficient. He had been trained to kill. Trained well. Trained by people who understood that sometimes violence was the only answer. That sometimes mercy was weakness. That sometimes you had to break things to protect what mattered. When it was over, Daehyun stood alone among bodies. The observation lounge was destroyed. Walls burned. Windows cracked. Blood everywhere. His blood. Their blood. All mixed together. He hurt in ways he had never hurt before. His body was telling him to lie down, to rest, to stop. But Yuna was behind that table, waiting, trusting, believing he would come back. So he walked back to her. Each step was hard. Each movement was pain, but he walked 1 foot, then the other. Again. Again. Until he reached her. Yuna looked up at him with wide eyes. Papa? He picked her up gently. Held her close. I'm here. I've got you. You're safe now. She hugged him tight. I knew you would come. You promised. I will always come for you. Always. He walked toward the door. Had to get her out of here. Had to get her somewhere safe. Had to keep moving until she was protected. Behind them, Vorn was dying. The blade had cut something important. He was bleeding out slowly. He watched the human walk away with his daughter. Watched them leave him lying in his own blood. He had been wrong. So wrong. He thought humans were weak, soft, easy prey. He thought bringing a child to a diplomatic meeting meant they were emotional fools. He did not understand. The child was not a weakness. The child was the reason for everything. The reason this human had torn through 40 warriors. The reason he had accepted injuries that should have killed him. The reason he had fought like nothing Vorn had ever seen. Humans did not fight for glory. For honor, for conquest. They fought for something else. Something Vorn would never understand as he died alone in an observation lounge on a station his people thought they had conquered. They fought for love, and love made them unstoppable. In the main hall, the prisoners heard the sounds of fighting stop. They heard footsteps approaching. Slow footsteps, heavy. The Krell guards raised their weapons nervously. The door opened. Daehyun walked in. He looked like death walking, burned, bleeding, barely standing. But he was carrying Yuna and she was unharmed. Clean. Safe. Sleeping again with her head on his shoulder. Trusting completely. The Krell guards looked at him. Looked at Yuna. Looked at each other. Then they dropped their weapons and raised their hands in surrender. They had heard what happened. Heard the sounds over the communicators. Heard their warriors dying one by one. Heard Captain Vorn's last gasping breaths. They knew what this human had done. What he was capable of, they wanted no part of it. They were raiders. Pirates. They understood risk versus reward. This was no longer worth it. Hyunwoo moved through the crowd. He looked at Daehyun with something close to awe. You did it. Of course I did, Daehyun said simply. She is my daughter. He walked to a clear space and sat down carefully. Yuna stayed asleep in his arms. Around them, the other prisoners stared. The Krell guards stood frozen. No one knew what to do next. Then Hyunwoo started giving orders. Calm orders. Practical orders. Secure the guards. Tend the wounded. Contact help. Life going on after violence. This was not new to humans. They had been doing this for thousands of years. The Vrex ambassador approached Daehyun. I do not understand. You should be dead. You faced 40 warriors. You should not have survived. Daehyun looked at him with tired eyes. I had a reason to survive. They did not, but the injuries, the odds. The logic says, logic, Daehyun interrupted. You keep talking about logic. Let me tell you something about human logic. Human logic says you protect your children. Import React from React. Import a download from Lucid React. Hunt Story Part 5, Thakur. Kadin Hunt Story Content. The child slept calmly, while the badger tore through everything in its path part. 5. The medical bay was clean and white. Strange alien machines hummed quietly. Daehyun sat on a bed while a medical drone worked on his injuries. The drone did not understand human biology very well, but it knew enough. Burns, broken bones, energy weapon damage, internal bleeding. The list went on. Yuna sat beside him, now awake and watching everything with wide eyes. The medical drone had checked her first. Not a scratch, not a bruise, completely unharmed. Just like Daehyun had promised himself. Just like he had fought for. Papa, does it hurt? Yuna asked, watching the drone seal a wound on his shoulder. A little, Daehyun admitted. But I am okay now. We are both okay. She leaned against him carefully, avoiding his injuries. I was not scared. I knew you would come. I will always come for you, sweetheart. Always. She nodded like this was obvious. Like there was no other possibility in the universe. Her faith in him was complete. Unshakable. And he would spend his entire life making sure that faith was never misplaced. Hyunwoo entered the medical bay. He carried a tablet and had the tired look of someone who had been dealing with complicated situations for hours. Station rescue ships are an hour away. The Krell ship fled as soon as their ground team stopped responding. The surviving Krell warriors are locked in the cargo bay. No one was brave enough to kill them, but no one trusts them with freedom either. Good, Daehyun said. His voice was rough, tired. And the casualties? Station security lost 15. Some civilians were injured in the initial assault. But after the observation lounge, the Krell stopped killing. They were too busy defending themselves from you. Hyunwoo paused. The final count is 43 Krell dead. By one human, in less than 2 hours. Daehyun closed his eyes. I did what I had to do. I know. Everyone knows. The whole galaxy is about to know. What do you mean? Hyunwoo held up the tablet. The station's security footage. It uploaded automatically to council servers before the Krell could shut it down. Diplomats on other stations have seen it. News networks have it. By tomorrow, every species in the galaxy will have watched a human father tear through trained warriors to reach his child. Daehyun was quiet for a moment. And what do they think? They are terrified, Hyunwoo said honestly. Some are calling for humans to be restricted, monitored. They say we are too dangerous, too violent, too unpredictable. And the others? The others are realizing that maybe humans are not the soft, emotional prey species they thought we were. Maybe bringing our children to meetings was not weakness. Maybe showing love was not stupidity. Hyunwoo smiled slightly. Maybe the predators of the galaxy should be careful about threatening human families. Yuna looked up at her father. Papa, what are they talking about? Daehyun smoothed her hair gently. Adult things. Nothing for you to worry about. But everyone keeps saying you were scary. You are not scary. You are Papa. To you I will always be Papa. Gentle and safe and loving. But to people who try to hurt you, I am something else. She thought about this seriously. Like how Grandma is nice to me but yells at people who are mean to her garden? Daehyun laughed despite his pain. Yes, exactly like that. The medical drone finished its work and moved away. Daehyun's injuries were sealed and bandaged. He would need more treatment. Real surgery. But he would live. He would heal. And that was enough. Across the galaxy, the footage spread like wildfire. Every species watched. Every government analyzed. Every military studied. On the Krell homeworld, the ruling council gathered. They watched the footage in silence. Watched one of their best captains die. Watched their warriors fall one by one. Watched a single human do what should have been impossible. How did we not know? One council member asked. How did we not know humans were this dangerous? They seemed weak, another replied. They talked about feelings and families. They brought children to diplomatic meetings. All signs of soft prey species. An old Krell warrior stood. He had more scars than anyone else in the room. We were fools. We confused kindness with weakness. Confused love with softness. We did not understand that love makes them stronger, not weaker. What do you recommend? The old warrior looked at the screen where Daehyun held his daughter. Add human territories to the Forbidden Zone. Not because we cannot win, but because the cost would be too high. They do not fight for honor or glory. They fight for each other. And species that fight for love do not surrender. Do not retreat. Do not stop until they win or die. The council agreed. A new law was passed that night. Krell ships would avoid human space. Krell raiders would not target human stations. The Krell had learned a lesson their ancestors should have taught them. Some prey are not prey at all. Some prey are just predators who have not been provoked yet. On the Thanari crystal world, philosophers debated the footage. They had always believed logic was superior to emotion. That calculation was better than instinct. That civilization meant rising above base animal nature. The footage challenged all of that. Here was a human who combined logic and emotion, who used tactics and instinct, who was both civilized and savage, and he was more effective than any pure warrior they had ever seen. Perhaps we were wrong, one philosopher said. Perhaps removing emotion makes us weaker, not stronger. But emotion leads to poor decisions. To waste, to inefficiency, does it? That human made no wasted movements, no poor decisions. His emotion did not cloud his judgment. It focused it, made him more dangerous, not less. The debate would continue for years, but the conclusion was already forming. Humans had something other species had lost or never had. They had balance. They could be peaceful and violent, logical and emotional, civilized and savage, and that balance made them unique in the galaxy. 3 months later, Daehyun returned to Station Meridian 7. It had been repaired, made stronger, new security systems, new protocols, and a new designation on all galactic maps. Yuna held his hand as they walked through the station. She had her rabbit in her other hand. She looked around at the aliens who stopped to stare. She waved at them. Some waved back carefully. Others hurried away. Why are they scared, Papa? She asked. They are not scared of you, sweetheart. They are scared of what I did to protect you. But you would not hurt them unless they tried to hurt me, right? Right. Then they do not need to be scared. You are nice. She said it with complete certainty. Daehyun smiled. In her world, things were simple. Papa was nice. Papa protected her. Papa was safe. She did not need to know about the darkness he could access, the violence he was capable of, the things he had done and would do again if necessary. She could stay innocent. That was his job. Keep her safe. Keep her happy. Keep her believing the world was good. And if the world tried to prove her wrong, he would change the world. They reached the new diplomatic hall. The meeting had already started. Representatives from dozens of species sat in a large circle. They all turned to look when Daehyun entered. He was just an ambassador again, calm, professional, friendly. He smiled and nodded, found his seat, helped Yuna settle with her coloring books, prepared to discuss trade agreements and cultural exchange. But everyone in that room knew what he was, knew what he could do, knew that the friendly diplomat was just one option, one mode, One choice he made because his daughter was safe. Ambassador Hyun-woo stood to give a speech. He had been elected to speak for humanity at these larger gatherings. His words carried weight now. 3 months ago, this station was attacked. Many of you were here. You saw what happened. You saw what one human did when his child was threatened. Today I want to explain why that happened. Not to excuse it, not to apologize for it, but to help you understand humanity. The room was silent. Everyone listened. Humans come from a planet called Earth. It is what we call a death world. Almost everything on it wants to kill you: predators, diseases, weather, other humans. For millions of years, humans survived by being adaptable, by learning, by forming groups and protecting each other. Hyun-woo walked slowly around the circle as he spoke. We learned from every predator on our world. From lions, we learned to hunt in groups. From wolves, we learned loyalty. From bears, we learned to defend territory. And from small creatures like badgers, we learned the most important lesson of all. He stopped and looked at each ambassador in turn. Protect the young. No matter the cost. No matter the odds. No matter what has to be destroyed. Because if you do not protect the next generation, your species dies. The Vrex ambassador spoke up, but many species protect their young. This is not unique to humans. True, Hyun-woo agreed. But Earth made us protect them differently. On your worlds, there are some predators, some dangers. On Earth, everything is danger. So Earth parents do not just guard their young. They become more dangerous than any threat. A mother bear will fight anything that threatens her cubs. A father badger will attack enemies 10 times his size. Human parents learned from all of them. He returned to the center. What you saw 3 months ago was not unusual for humans. It was normal. Any human parent would do the same. We love deeply. We protect fiercely.